was cut off as "she'll be all right." Won't she? Alright, given my non-existent skills in coding video games, I had originally intended the game to be a choose-your-own-adventure style playable novel kind of experience. My concept art from last year features still images with text that the player would click through and then choose one of 4 options to advance the story. But then I met Marie. Everyone, this is Marie Jarrell of the Digital Production Arts MFA program here at Clemson. And she's implementing my game design into the 2D old-school role-playing game style you just saw, which is very hip right now. All right, the game takes place just after the novel ends with Harriet's suicide, so that was her suicide note that you saw. A brief cinematic will introduce players to the characters and the events of the novel, and play begins with the character waking up in a hotel room and wondering if she is dead. The point of playing the game is for modern players to empower Harriet through their decision-making. Rather than ending her life because of her supposed monstrosity, players will guide Harriet through this spirit world in between the ordinary world and the afterlife in an effort to understand her monstrosity and develop a stronger subject position. The black and white coloration of this in-between space is broken up only by a couple points of red. One is the flower in Harriet's hat. Red is also the color of Harriet's stamina bar. When you saw her, in a minute it'll come up, the part where she drains the nun of her life force. So the nun's bar is black, her bar is red. Now that players move around in the game space, many of the choices I'd written into the game design are moot, so they have been removed, making the game a lot less text-heavy, meaning the player is free to move around the space and decisions are more fine-tuned. So only 1 or 2 different choices as opposed to 4, because you can just do the thing that the other things would have let you do. Let me explain the drain mechanic. By draining a human being or a spirit, the player can gain energy to either make herself stronger or to give to others. When the player encounters the nun, the drain is automatic and there's nothing the player can do to stop it. Since this is Harriet's first time seeing it, and that's what happened in the novel. So after this point, the player can choose when to do it and how much energy to take. The game engine will remember the player's actions and will make certain endings either available or unavailable based on those choices. The endings are not good or bad, but they're all very different. The idea is to let players decide who Harriet is and who she's going to be now, whether she accepts or rejects her monstrosity, and how she wants to deal with the other characters from the novel. This is a heuristic approach to meaning making that utilizes many of the game design techniques I've read about and creates an ethical system that I think CCART would approve of. I plan to teach this game as part of a transmedia studies course, so class discussion would hinge on differences in approaches to play and analyzing the game's mechanics as vehicles of meaning and metaphor. Collaboration is absolutely necessary for this project for a couple of reasons. First, I don't know how to code. So if I want to design a video game, I need the help of someone who does. Second, the game's design and story are all developed by me, so the game fits standards of an individually authored dissertation. Oops, it's gone too far. Almost there. Third, I argue that collaboration is a productive approach to scholarship and should be more widely accepted and undertaken more often in the humanities. Okay, and here's why it matters. We'll go back. Okay. A week and a half ago, indie game developer Zoe Quinn released her game Depression Quest and was immediately personally attacked by someone she had recently dated and had stopped seeing. He posted all of her personal information on social media sites and accused her of sleeping with a Kotaku games journalist, to get a positive game review. It was later revealed that the journalist had never written a review of her game in the first place. Days later, the hashtag Gamergate appeared on Twitter and exploded with angry video gamers demanding ethical practices specifically for women in the indie games market and for female games journalists. Gamergaters call their opponents social justice warriors and object to indie games addressing issues of social concern rather than simply being designed for fun and games. They object to women's increasing presence in the games industry and as video game players. Besides the angry male mob rampaging across social media sites about this, people analyzing the situation have come up with no basis for the accusations of unethical behavior, not least because there's almost no money to be had in either the indie games development or in games journalism, and both have very limited audiences. Gamergate proponents, however, have an enormous audience because of their flooding of social media and their alliance with the big games industry. Most everyone writing sensibly on the subject agrees this is a thin justification for misogyny and silencing of women in video games. Trolling of women associated with the video games industry is disturbingly prevalent and vitriolic. It's really bad. So besides my claims about rhetorical theory and my discussion of what games offer scholarship, through its focus on feminism and race, this project could not have come at a better time. This is no time to remain silent like the Gamergaters want. I advocate for greater diversity precisely when we need more female voices in the games industry. A Google search for feminist or feminism produces hundreds of videos of angry men speaking out against man-haters and gleefully pointing out flaws in anything they can find that labels itself feminist. A search for black feminism is even more depressing. There seems to be widespread misunderstanding of what it means to be feminist, and this reaches all the way to the highest levels of our government and other institutions. This is unacceptable. Making this game and teaching it, plus publishing in traditional journals, will be my way of addressing this appalling trend. And that's why it matters. Guys like him.